All right, everybody, welcome back to Success on the Spectrum. It's just Lyndsay and Chey today. Neither of us are legal, medical, or psychiatric professionals. Please regard any information post this sentence as such. Thank you very much. Welcome back. We appreciate every single one of you that hops on every week or every other week in this case, which we'll talk about later, to join us. Please like, share, comment, give us some love, please. We love y'all.
Let me do the
Yeah.
Gen Z one that hurts my fingers.
Did it. First try. Look at me go. I'm not as old as I feel. All right. So I'm sitting in this energy right now, and I'll tell you why in a moment, but we're gonna start with our talking about our systems this week. With overstimulation and sensory issues, how we cope. You wanna kick us off, Chey, or you want me to start diarrhea in the mouth?
I'll roll with it.
Go with it.
Also, I love the medical disclaimer that we do, although I think if no one would ever think I had a PhD, so I think we're good.
It's not fair.
Not fair. No, I'm just kidding. I give myself a lot of credit, but school was not my thing, and going to school for 10 years was certainly not my thing. So yeah, for support systems, we were talking about being overstimulated and how we cope with that. And all I can say is preparation. Oh my gosh. Before I leave the house, I am like such a crazy person about like what I am wearing on my body. First of all, like clothing has a lot to do with it. How I wear my hair is based a lot on the weather. If it's hot, if it's sticky, hair's going up, things like that. If it's really windy, hair's going up because I just can't. So, and then another thing too is if I go to the grocery store by myself, a lot of times I just pop some headphones in. I'm just in my own little world. Music really, really makes me feel, I am very musically inclined. I love music. I listen to everything. And like, it makes my experience so much more enjoyable in a fluorescent lit, always playing 80s music for some reason, busy grocery store, things like that. But if we backtrack, how do you become prepared? You become prepared by being self-aware and recognizing your mistakes. Like if you go out and you're really uncomfortable and your clothes or the way that you're feeling or things make you overstimulated, you have to like take those in and be like, okay, so next time I'm going to do XYZ. So, you have to be self-aware in order to recognize the things that are causing you overstimulation,
I like what you said about the headphones too. I actually recently realized that I will put them in and get into the grocery store, go do everything I need to do because I use them for the exact same reason, but I'll get back in my car and then realize there was never anything playing. They just buffer the rest of the sound. And so many times recently I've been like, oh my God, I never turned on music. Like it's literally just to block the world out a little bit. Because auditory is definitely a place where I have some sensitivities for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Go ahead.
I was just saying I like how you kind of treat it like a science experiment too, where you're like, that's the thing that's getting me this time. Noted. That's my favorite little brain tick. Noted.
Yep.
Use that.
Yeah, take it in, absorb it, remember it, and make necessary changes. But I don't think I'm a loud person. Like my whole life, so I have a twin sister. I said that before, but she's very quiet. She's very observant. She's always thinking, but never really speaking. And so like our whole lives, I was like, blah, 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 blah. And she would be like, shh, 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 you're being so loud. I'd be like, I am. So I think because I'm loud and I can recognize it now. I'll be like, okay, and I'll be a little quieter, if it's inappropriate to be my normal octave or whatever. But last night she and I went to a baseball game and I had the urge to talk to people. So I got up and I walked around the stadium. I met some people, chatted with this one really nice woman for 20 minutes. And when I'm like in a conversation with someone, I don't notice what's going on around me at all. But afterwards, we went to a restaurant and there was a group of girls behind us. They were drinking, laughing, having a good time. But I was chatting with my friend and my sister, and I did not notice them at all. And at one point, my sister's like, these girls behind us, oh my God. And I was like, who?
What girls?
Yeah. I don't think my overstimulation is if like clothing, the way that things feel on my skin, very sensitive to that. And also I think I get really overstimulated when a plan is not going accordingly. Like I get really frustrated and overstimulated. Like if we're supposed to go to a concert and we show up to the concert and the entrance that we plan to go in is totally closed, and so we walk around and we go to the other entrance, it's closed too, and now we can't figure out how to get in this place and what to do because we were supposed to go into the first entrance that we had always, and now I'm like, fuck this.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm over
Done.
it. Yeah. I do not force plans. If it feels right and it's flowing, I'm there all night. If it's not, I'm out. Out.
Irish goodbye.
Yeah. I can't do it.
Yep. So I'm realizing I do something similar to what you do, and that's probably why what I'm about to say might be shocking to some people. So I also take in every time I get overstimulated and course correct and plan appropriately next time. And I'm realizing that that has become my entire public persona. That is how that was built. So I actually have what can be debilitating social anxiety. Like I have somehow planted myself into an industry where, and in a business to business role where you have to be known and you have to network to do business, right? Solar industry is what it is. And in order to do business to business connections, you have to know the leaders of those businesses. And to know the leaders of those businesses, you have to be involved in the convention space. So that is why I will show up to a 3-day convention with 17 pairs of stilettos and 22 dresses and 14 pieces of luggage, because in my brain, I have calculated every social interaction I have had in these spaces for the last 6 years and who this Lyndsay Erickson stage presenting person is an accumulation of the things that I know will keep me from having social faux pas. That is literally all it is. Whether that be showing up on a photo that's posted somewhere later that looks bad, like all of those things I worry about from a social anxiety point of view, especially living in the social media realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once you've taken a stage or two or multiple across the years now, you get stopped. People will stop you to take pictures. And so I do not find that to be a comfortable experience ever.
Yeah.
But the way that I have found best to navigate it to where I feel like it's fully masking, but where I feel like I'm showing up as the person I need to be, it really is just an accumulation of exactly what you said. Taking those pieces of like, okay, it needs to be this, it needs to be this, it needs to be this. I should have had heels on there. Damn it.
Yep.
Should have had my nails done. Damn it.
But next time you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Next time you will do that. Yeah. Yeah. When I traveled for work, I could never, all I really needed was like sports bras, shorts, polos, tennis shoes, and like something to go to bed in. But I would pack, and this is in June, July, August, doesn't matter. And I would pack like 4 or 5 different sweatshirts because after I'm done with work, in my head, I have my closet in my head and I'm like, I want to feel that one on my skin. So I would always make sure that I would bring a good variety, because I have probably, I'm not kidding, 75 crew neck sweatshirts. I wear probably 6 of them. And each one, I know what the fibers on the inside feel like. And sometimes my skin like needs specific comfort at the end of the day. It's really crazy. My sweatshirts are a huge part of my life.
So I don't think it's crazy at all. I think you'd actually be shocked at how many of us neurodivergents, regardless of our diagnoses, have that same exact thing. I was just explaining this the other day. I don't know what it's, how did I say it? I don't know what it's going to feel like to be in my body that day. So I
Yeah.
need to have options. And that, because I get teased all the time, like, damn, you brought the biggest suitcase you possibly could. And I'm like, I don't know what it's going to feel like to be me that day.
Yep.
You
Writing
know?
that down.
Yeah.
So I am a chronic overpacker, but the idea of getting somewhere where I'm already away from home, I'm already overstimulated, I'm already like a little uncomfortable, and not having what I need to wear is like, I can't do it. And if I'm like, I'll be wearing a certain whatever on a vacation, I'm like, I wish I had that thing that I literally own and don't have access to right now. It's the worst. It's the worst
It's
feeling.
hard to think about anything else.
Yeah, literally.
When you
Yeah.
get stuck in that moment when you don't have that thing, it's like,
So what is that? Is that a neurodivergent? Like, is it our some sort of receptor issue?
it's emotional connection to inanimate objects, and it's highly common amongst neurodivergents, which is funny because we'll have the opposite issue with human connection, where it's hard to maintain the emotional connection if the thing's not there
Yeah.
or the person's not there, you know.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Backwards, a
What is it?
juxtaposition of our wiring, rather, not backwards, just different.
Yeah. Object permanence, people permanence. Do you think, and you may have a thought on this and you may not, but do you think that neurodivergent people care more about what others think than a neurotypical person? And this is not to say this is going to be across the board, but just generalized statement or opinion.
I'm going to tell you something that I read recently that was very powerful for me. And it was a quote from a woman. And you guys, everybody out there, please excuse me for the way that my brain is going to work today. I just got done with my entire convention season and one of the largest events I've ever planned. So everybody excuse me. I'm very tired. It ended yesterday. But this is the quote, and I will find her name and post it. She said, "The only break that I have ever had from being autistic was in the absence of being perceived."
Wow. Was in the absence of being perceived.
The only break I ever have, sorry, because I feel this so deeply. The only break that I ever have from my autistic symptoms is when I have a break from being perceived by other people, where I don't have to, where I can just unmask and be me and there's nobody else. And that's actually one of the systems I have in place. Like this convention that I just got done with, I live in Vegas. It was in Vegas. I could have come home to my space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made sure to rent a room that was the closest possible room to the convention center so that I could have a space, because it does get, I will fully shut down.
Yeah.
It gets to, but
I
yeah,
have always worried about what other people think of me. And there have been times when I go to this extreme where I'm like, I don't like, I love my boyfriend very much. He's the best thing. Like, I can't even. But there are times where I felt like, and I don't ever feel judged by him, but sometimes I feel like such an imposition or inconvenience or what have you, where I'm like, I wish that I could just leave. I'll just, I'll just be single and be friendless and be by myself. You know what I
you
mean?
feel like you're a burden.
Yeah. And I think that what you just said is like, yeah, You know, even though I don't feel it's not that I don't feel, I am not judged by him at all. But I feel like, wouldn't your life be so much better if you had just fallen in love with someone else who doesn't have this, and you wouldn't have to deal with this, and you would just be with someone who has like a consistent mood and doesn't have to
He's
take
so
medication.
bored.
Yeah. I know, and he
He's so
doesn't want
bored.
that. He doesn't want that, you know? Yeah. But I feel like you feel guilty sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, I wish you would have been able to fall in love with someone else. And that's so sad because he doesn't feel that way. It's just that I worry about what people think. And like, I am a very social person. I'll walk up to anybody and have a conversation and they love me. But if someone is like extremely gorgeous, or like I can tell they just came from a shitload of money or like whatever, I'm like, I don't want to talk to this person. And I am like visibly uncomfortable, you know, because I give a shit what people think, you know, but I don't know.
I think that's part of our training from the, what was it, 20,000 extra negative comments before we turned, 18?
Yeah.
It's conditioning.
Yeah.
We come up in social infrastructures that make us feel like a burden.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it makes it hard to see the positives. Even earlier when we were speaking, you were like, I have John cackling every day and it's the best thing ever. Like, there's a lot of positives to him being with you, man, that he would not get with a neurotypical person.
Yeah.
They're not that funny because they're not that traumatized.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I'm just kidding. There's plenty of funny neurotypical people. Don't come after me, you guys.
Yeah. All jokes. So
we love all.
Well, we were talking about for the next segment, is it just me, or do some social expectations just not make sense? And you had a really good one for this.
Yeah. Why the hell did we board the front of the plane first? Why?
Drives me insane. Do you know why we do that, actually?
No, I have no idea. I have no idea. So that the people that pay more money for their seats don't have to wait out in the lobby as long. I'm like, I'd rather wait in the freaking lobby.
I'd rather wait in the lobby because here's the thing. You have more money. You bought the bigger ticket. You have the bigger seat. Cool. Do you want to be stuffed into this plane first while people are knocking you with their duffel bags and or like
as they walk by?
Yes. And I'm like, you could have had an extra 15 minutes to like go to the bathroom, grab a coffee, sit, finish what you're doing on your laptop, whatever. But now instead you're sitting. It makes zero sense to me. I don't understand it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah. And it can't be a weight issue because you deplane from the front first.
Yeah, no, it's not a weight issue. There's no way.
It can't be a weight issue. Yeah.
No way.
So I don't know why they do that. I really do not know. I really don't.
I don't know, but we needed to get a petition because I feel like everyone in the world would sign it.
I agree.
Some social expectations that just don't make sense. I had a really hard time with this, and I don't know why. What else do you have? Give us some other examples. Maybe I'll run.
Social expectations that don't make sense to me. Why do you have to go through an entire process on the phone or digitally for a doctor's appointment where you put in all of your information, all of this stuff, and then you get to the office and have to do it all over again on a piece of paper, and then you get into the back office and the nurse comes in and you have to tell them every single thing you just wrote on that paper, and then the doctor comes in and you have to tell the doctor every single thing you just wrote on that paper? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Another
cannoli.
Something that's very similar to that is calling in. Like I have to call insurance carriers all the time. And I'll be like, hey, they're like, what's your writing number? So I have to tell them my writing number, my first name. I have to tell them my address, the last four of my social. Then I have to tell them the client's name and the client's policy number. They're like, oh, that's not my department. and they move me somewhere else and I have to do all of that verification again. I'm like, you had to call this person on the back line, say, hey, this is Chey Wisdom. This is the policy number. This is the issue she's having. Now I'm going to transfer her. Why would you not do that? Why would you not do that? It's inefficient as fuck the way that we run this place. Drives me insane. You know who I feel like has their shit together, I think, from what I see online, is China. They seem like a very efficient place. I don't know. I've never been to China. I just see TikToks, but I'm like, wow.
Oh, that's fair. That's some
That
cool
seems like
tricks, right?
a good little process. But why do you think, I feel like obviously neurotypical people get annoyed at this stuff too, but do you think that we notice it more?
I think it's harder for us to comply.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. I think, yeah, we all notice the same things, but the level of annoyance and the likelihood to cooperate, I think, vary drastically between a neurotypical and a neurodivergent, for sure. Yeah. Especially as you get into like the kind of higher levels of the autism too, for sure.
Well, when I was like younger, and you guys can take this, as you will, I wasn't out there just breaking the law. Okay. But when I was younger, like my early 20s, I would like look at things that were against the law, or like even like rules in a classroom, rules at work. And I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Who really cares about this? This is so dumb. Like even John was telling me about one of his first jobs, and like he had to wear a suit and tie and jacket every day. And I'm like, for fucking what? You were 19 years old. Like, how does that make you perform better? Yeah, it may look nice or whatever. You're going to have like some more casual, like there's no reason to have to wear that to work every day when you're like an intern. Stuff like that, like little rules like that. I'm like, fuck off. And then the corporate world, I'm sorry, I can fucking not with the rules that they have and what HR gets all bent out of shape for. I'm like, this is what y'all are literally using your precious fucking time on this planet to do and to worry about. That is crazy. Crazy. And like, I gotta say, I will listen in on his meetings sometimes. And I'm like, if y'all weren't so scared of HR, the point would have gotten crossed 15 minutes ago, but they have to be so fucking careful with how they beat around the bush so that they don't get fired, that if they don't get shit done. I'm like, someone was telling him earlier, hey, he was trying to tell John, hey, you said this project, whatever, will probably be done by June. What he was saying was, I think we should push the deadline to July 31st, but he was being so delicate with delivering that. And I'm like, tell him that the deadline needs to be moved back to July because it's not going to get done by June. And then I said that in 4 seconds. And now we're on to the next thing. It was
so there's another social expectation that does not make sense. It's why oh yeah, it bothers me that people can't be more blunt.
Yeah,
but I am brutally blunt sometimes, so I maybe could be a little softer too.
Yeah.
But no, the time spent in the coaxing of an ego, I do not understand that. It really does not make any sense to me. Say what you need to say, keep it trucking.
Yeah. I was sitting downstairs earlier listening to this conversation, and I was just sitting at the bottom of the stairs because I was waiting for the meeting to get over so I could grab some sweatpants. That never happened because they took so fucking long to get to the point. So I was sitting there thinking, okay, if I owned a corporate operation, here is what I would do. I would say, here is our culture. Here are the very extremes where you are allowed to go to HR. Someone does something fucked up to you, go. If you're offended because you're sensitive, do not go to HR about that. And we're going to have a policy where things can be said directly and no one is going to get in trouble for it. Like I was just like creating my own corporation in my head and the standards I would have and the culture I would have, because like the sensitivity and the fear of getting fired that they have pressed onto the corporate world is so insane to me. It's crazy.
That's the one thing about me. Can't fire me. You
It
could you could discontinue being my client, sure, but you can't fire me.
Same. Can't. I am
Nobody can fire me anymore.
not
Nope.
fireable. Well, I guess I am, but you have to do something really bad, like launder money. So I think I'm good there.
I think well, you're fine. I think you got some security there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't social social emotional expectations just often don't make sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've said things like plenty of times in my life where like a neurotypical person is just very thrown off by that. And I'm like, why can't you just take what I said at face value? I wasn't trying, I didn't deliver it with like an arrow in your back. I just said, hey, XYZ. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't know. I, yeah. Like we're
Well, I think
sensitive, but
they have to put so much in authenticity to the way that they deliver things that it's just abrasive when they don't when it's not received. You
yeah,
know?
which
I don't get it.
I don't
Sorry,
get it.
everybody out there, by the way, if you've been personally offended by that. I am sorry. I could be softer. I know I could be softer. There's been a few times where people are like, whoa,
Yeah.
like,
Like I definitely have empathy. And if someone says, hey, this is a little aggressive, I'll bet, oh my God, I am so
so
sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean
And
it.
that's why I love voice texting too. Because if I have something that I know borders, this could come off aggressive, I'll just say it on a voice text so that my tone comes across properly. So, but like we're efficient people. We like efficiency because I feel like we have to work so hard to just
Maintain our
do,
timetables.
yeah, and just like get through life in general. That it's like your system that I cannot get around is fucking with my efficiency and it just drives me nuts, you know? So,
That's really what this segment was about. Why is everybody so damn inefficient?
yeah, for real.
Really? You know? I love that. Well, that actually kind of speaking on that, that leads us into our final episode or our final segment, which is we can get easily annoyed by people or triggered, overstimulated by people, but I know personally I can do the same to others. I know that neurotypical people can be very overwhelmed by me or annoyed or put off or offended. You know, I have had all of those moments. I actually had a very sweet lady that I am quite fond of very quickly tell me the other day as we were just in a normal conversation in her living room that she was scared of me and the way that my brain works. And she didn't mean it in like in a negative way, just like I
Wait, walk
am
us through this. Like, what was the dialogue?
I think we were actually talking about the podcast and some of the things like I was the neurodivergent realm is a new experience to her. Um and so we were just talking about the just some of the things we talked about in here, and I was giving some like definitions on like terms and things of that nature. And I think we had gotten into talking about some professional stuff. It's losing me what exactly we were talking about. She was like, the way that your brain operates is scary. And I was like,
Well, does she know
"Oh,
you?
her name's Robin. Hi, Robin.
Okay, so you guys know each other?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Big fan of Robin.
I wonder what about it, what in the past that you verbalized or whatever that was like, oh my God, I don't want to cross Lyndsay.
I don't think it's as scary in that way, and just it's more in like a my brain operates in a new way that she's just never experienced before, and it's like you know walking into a room with Elon is kind of what I likened it to. Not of that level, obviously. I'm not. That'd be crazy if I was that level, but I likened it to that kind of like wow, you are different.
Yeah.
And I am. And but it was like in a cool receiving, like this is all so new and interesting. And it was probably one of my favorite exchanges to date where somebody has learned about who I am. So
Yeah. And I think that too, was there a time when someone saying that to you would have offended you or hurt your feelings? And if so, how do you think that, what have you done to grow in a way where you took that as a compliment?
no, so there was, God, I wish I could emulate her tone because there was no, I don't think anybody could have been offended by the way that she said it, at all. Like she's just the sweetest. I
Yeah.
love her to death. Um, but I have had people tell me like, wow, you are different. And that makes me uncomfortable in one way or another. Like, but I often find that the people that are put off by me in a negative way are people that are living inauthentically.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really the thing is
That
like
makes
it's
sense.
off-putting to them because they know that I can see or feel that they are not operating in either an integrous way or what have you. I've come to learn that's how I've coped with those is I came to learn actually a long time ago before I even knew I was autistic. I came to learn that people that were put off by me, it's for a reason. And it's usually because I am triggering something in them that they are uncomfortable about with themselves because
For
I
sure.
mirror. So if you're uncomfortable about something, there's a reason for it, you
Yep.
know? So yeah, that's kind of, and I've had people also that get very aggressive very quickly with me because of my bluntness. This just happened last week in a professional setting where I was like, "Hey, what you're saying is not going to work." Like, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you it's not going to work, and I'm telling you this because this is literally my area of expertise, and this is why. And I literally got called a bitch to my face for the first
Oh.
time in years, and it was in a professional setting.
By
So
another adult. Adults who speak like that blow my mind. Have some emotional regulation. We don't,
yeah,
you don't
I
speak
was
to
so
people
just
like
like,
that.
but I know that the only reason it's a projection. I know
Yeah.
when people act like that, it's a projection of something that they've got going on in here that I have triggered. And I live in such a realm of social justice and authenticity that if I am triggering to you, it's because you're not on that same energy level that I'm at.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
where it, where it, yeah.
I unfortunately grew up in a world where I thought speaking that way was normal. Like my mom was very, like I was so used to being called like a little fucking bitch by the time I was like 8 that I didn't trip about that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my mom. Sorry. Let me finish building the sandcastle with you. Like, and like when we're like driving down the road, it's like, road rage, shit like that. And like I thought that would behavior was that's how you reacted when you were upset. And so like in high school, maybe a little bit out of high school, I would be not often, but if someone really upset me, like I'll call you a name, you know? And now, like, even if someone, like, let's say a friend is like, this person did XYZ to me and it's horrible, and that person's not even in the room, I'm like, that is really, I just can't even like call them the B word even though they just did something horrible and whatever. I just think that adults who behave like that, are you serious? That's so crazy to call someone a bitch. It That's crazy. Someone could literally like dump Kool-Aid on my head at the bar and I would not call them a bitch. That's wild.
I was called toxic in an email chain with multiple executives on it because I was pointing out failings in a click funnel connectivity. That was it. That was it. This thing is not connected to this thing. We need to know where these leads are going. Where is this happening? And then it was, why can't anybody figure out what's going on here? And the end response was that I was being toxic.
Was this a male or a female who said that?
Men, both times.
Really?
Yeah. I will say both times though, also a man came to my defense.
Period. Yeah, I was kind of thinking it was a woman thing, but a man with a frail ego and very like insecurity, if you're a guy and you're listening to this, the most masculine thing that you can do is to be emotionally intelligent and kind and loving. And that idea of masculinity being hoorah, I'm loud, I'm tough, you can't hurt me, is the least masculine thing. And women can see that, by the way. And insecurity is the biggest ick. Whether I'm dating you, you're my friend, you're my colleague, whatever, it is so icky and we can smell it from a mile away, buddy. And women,
you know what I've learned?
Women are like that too. If you're super insecure, women, it's not insecure human beings, it's not good. Not good. So
I agree.
What have you learned?
I've learned that you cannot be blunt and right with men.
Blunt and right. What about a healed man?
What I mean by that is if you need to prove to a man that they are wrong, it's not smart to be blunt. In my professional arena, at least, I've learned that. I'm not saying that's all men. I'm just saying my experience professionally is that if I need to prove a man wrong, I cannot be blunt.
How do you do it?
Soft delivery. Instead of saying, hey, this isn't going to work, this is why, it's, hey, I was thinking through this and I was kind of like running some numbers on it and looking at it from a few different points of view. I'm worried that if we do this, this could happen. Maybe we could try doing this. Why am I wasting all this fucking time? It's not going to fucking work.
Yeah.
Sorry for all the language. But that's one of the most frustrating things. And we already talked about it once, is the wasting of emotional energy and time
to get to the same result. General,
to say the same thing.
Yeah. It's really hard to cater to people's
when they don't do the same thing in return. That's
for
another
sure.
part of it too. You'll receive it very blunt.
Well, yeah, and that goes for other things too. Like for me, I just want to be accepted by my friends, because in ways that I exhaust some people is by this was more so when I'm younger. I've really learned to control the volume of my voice in certain places. But I have been a lot for people by being really loud, bailing on plans, being forgetful, and being impulsive. And the impulsivity can come in many different ways, like let's just go, or what was I going to say? Oh, like being judgmental. When I was younger, I was very impulsive with that, and then I would say something, and then I'm like, I shouldn't have said that, and blah blah blah. And when my friends make a mistake or whatever, I am like, that's okay. You probably did that because of XYZ. And that's okay. No worries. But I feel like a lot of my life has been spent with people being really upset with me and not like giving me grace or recognizing, like, I guess I don't know how to say this. It's not really my friend's job to understand ADHD, but it is you're friends with someone who has ADHD. And so her brain works a little bit differently. And I wish that people would kind of consider that when they are upset that I did something that maybe they didn't like. The bailing on plans thing has been a really big issue for me. But I've learned to say, maybe I'll let you know, which has been a lot better for me. But in terms of other people overstimulating me, if I am in the mood, which is most of the time, I love people. But like when I'm done, I'm done. Of course I have my limits, but I have felt like a burden to people for most of my life, much less now. But if you're looking at baby to me sitting here right now, most of my life was spent feeling like a burden. But I feel a lot better nowadays that I don't feel like I need to shrink, and that I very much feel like I'm allowed to take up space. And if people only like me when I'm shrunken down, then they don't really like me. And if you make yourself smaller to fit in, you're robbing yourself of finding your true soul people.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. I've started giving a preface. So when I bring on a new client now, I will often have a conversation with the leadership that I'm going to be working directly with, and I will let them know, hey, I am a little autistic, and that means that I do work on my own schedule. I have a big life that I have to work around. It also means that I value efficiency. So you may find that I am blunt. If at any point you feel offended or would like me to change any of my behaviors, please feel free to have a conversation with me. I will not be offended. This is just the way that my brain works. But because of the way that my brain works, I'm going to be able to deliver these things to you that you're looking for. So I tend to just give like a little preface of like, hey, this is who I am. This is how I operate. We're going to do some great shit together, basically, is like what I'll put that out there. And so then if any issues ever do arise, I can revisit instead of introduce. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think too, like I think we take criticism really, really well. I do.
I don't.
You don't? Oh, I do.
No, man.
I take it really, really well. If it's valid, I take it really well. Like I had a friend, we went to coffee, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And funny enough, the following day, I started thinking when a couple times when she started talking to me, I was either texting or answering a message from a coworker or a client. And I thought to myself, that was probably rude and I should work on that. But then a few hours later, so the next evening, she texted me and was like, hey, I kind of want to have something I kind of want to say. And I'm not mad at you. It's totally fine. But a couple times, like when I was talking yesterday, literally was like, I felt ignored by you. I really wanted to talk about some revelations that I've had lately, but I didn't feel like you were in the space to hear me. So I just kept it to myself, but I'd really been looking forward to talking about those things with you. And I was like, you're totally right. Like, da 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 da. So, like, if it's something that's valid that I can agree with and that I agree that I can work on, I will, like, I don't just like get defensive and be like, no, I didn't, or like whatever. Like, I'm cool having those conversations. If it's going to make me a better family member, a better friend, a better colleague, a better leader, I'm like super down to have those conversations.
So it's not that I don't take them well, as that I get offensive. I don't take them well in that I'm incredibly hard on myself.
Yeah.
So I get very down. Like I get very like, do not feel like I'm worthy of being here. Like bad. So that's like, I had one of those moments the other day where I was like, fuck it all, you know? No, I don't take it well in that I unfortunately am attempting to recover from being a perfectionist and strive for that. So when I feel like I've done something wrong, I feel like the worst person ever. Yeah.
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 I've had moments like that for sure. I've really learned from my transition in careers that like it's okay, you know. But I yeah, being a perfectionist sounds really hard. I've never been one. I've always been kind of like, that's pretty good. I'm gonna turn it in.
No.
Yeah. It sounds exhausting though. I know people, you know, who are perfectionists and it sounds really freaking hard to try and
It's
constantly.
exhausting for the people around me.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect doesn't exist though.
I know, that's the worst. That's why it's so exhausting, because you're never going to
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
And I know this. Like, I am so aware.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop it, you know? That's one of the major things I'm working on in therapy right now is like, I am only one person, you
Yeah.
know? And a human one at that.
Yeah. A human one at that. You'll get there though. I'm glad that you're in therapy. You've been seeing this woman for how long?
Oh, almost 3 years.
I thought so, yeah. I've been really my inner dialogue lately has been like, you need to get back in therapy. You need to get back in therapy. I'm like, okay. But I'm like, who do I choose? And what type do I choose? And then I get overwhelmed by the decision making and then I put it off for another month and then I wake up, it's been 6 months and so I really need
Yeah.
to do that. So
I went through betterhelp.com.
okay, that's what I was thinking about doing that, but I'm like, is this just like a Walmart version of therapy because it's like commercialized now, or like, is it good? It's good.
No, so it's actually just a platform for them to put their services on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like a yeah,
Way
they're
for
still they
people to
each have their
find
own
and
own
access things.
practices and stuff. It's just it's like a source page almost for them.
Okay, I was thinking it was like BetterHelp hires you and then just like pushes you to the masses type thing.
No, I'm pretty sure they pay to be on the platform.
Okay, that makes me feel so much better. Because when things become like commercialized, I get really turned off. I kind of look at them as like Applebee's and Walmart. Like I would much
Yeah,
rather go to a local farmer's market and a local taco joint. You know what I'm saying? So that's
she
good to.
hasn't taken on any new clients in like a year and a half, but that's actually why she got off the platform. It's because wasn't taking anybody else on.
Okay, I'm gonna look at that when we get off here today. Do they accept insurance?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
I will check that
Mhm.
out. Okay.
Good
Well,
source,
we're coming up
resources.
on an
Did it?
hour here. So
We did it. Look at us go. Chey and Lyndsay. One-on-one special cut episode. All right, y'all. We did have a couple weeks there, everybody. Excuse the gap between our episodes on the YouTube channel. My life has been crazy. My hair's been on fire, and I post all the things. So thank you all for being here. Hit the little bell in the bottom corner to get notified for any and all future postings. Thank you for following, share, like, copy, rinse, repeat, all the stuff. We love you for it. Until next week, success on the spectrum.